September 12th, 1683, Vienna. The ground doesn't just tremble, it violently convulses. It isn't the pounding of footsteps or the thunder of siege cannons. The threat is coming from directly beneath them. For 60 agonizing days, Ottoman sappers have been clawing through the earth like ghosts, packing tunnels beneath the city walls with black powder. They are inching toward the foundations of the very last barrier, standing between 150,000 hardened soldiers and everything Europe has ever built. The fuse is lit, a blinding flash, and then obliteration. The explosion rips through the Burg bastion with the force of a localized earthquake, instantly vaporizing stone that had stood defiant for 2 centuries. A gaping 12-metre wound tears open in the wall of Vienna. Through the choking smoke, the raining debris, and the deafening screams, 16,000 defenders, a ragged militia of soldiers, priests, and civilians, brace for the end. They have survived 2 months of relentless bombardment, plague, and starvation. Count Ernst Rüdiger von Starhemberg, the iron-willed Austrian commander holding the city together by sheer defiance, stares into the smoking abyss. He only has 4,000 fighting men left. 4,000 exhausted, bleeding men against an ocean of 150,000. His ammunition is gone. But he doesn't say a word. He simply draws his sword and walks straight toward the gap. Outside, 15,000 elite Janissaries, the deadliest infantry on earth, draw their blades and prepare to flood the breach. 12 meters of rubble is all that separates Europe from total annihilation. Can 4,000 starving men hold back the apocalypse? The Janissaries hit the gap like a tidal wave of steel and fury. Swords clash against desperate pikes in a blinding frenzy of close-quarters slaughter. This isn't a battle of grand tactics anymore. It is a desperate, claustrophobic meat grinder. Starhemberg is in the thick of it, his men fighting with shattered weapons and bare hands, slipping on the blood-soaked rubble of their own defenses. Wave after wave of Ottoman shock troops crash into the defenders, who are so exhausted they're literally falling asleep between sword swings. The noise is absolute, a chaotic symphony of war drums, musket fire, and the dying cries of men crushed in the breach. Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa watches from his lavish command tent, tasting the imminent collapse of the Christian world. The city is drowning in its own blood. The defenses are crumbling. Every second brings Vienna closer to a massacre. Yet Kara Mustafa hasn't ordered the final all-out general assault that would end it instantly. What is the Grand Vizier waiting for? What fatal secret is keeping him from striking the killing blow? To understand the bloody climax at the wall, we must rewind the clock. How did the greatest empire in the world end up throwing everything it had at a single starving city? Flashback to 1453. Sultan Mehmed II breaches Constantinople, wiping the Eastern Roman Empire off the map. From that day, the Ottoman Empire wasn't just a nation, it became an unstoppable flesh and blood machine built for one singular purpose: relentless expansion. It devoured Bulgaria, Serbia, Greece, and Hungary. In 1529, Suleiman the Magnificent marched 100,000 men to Vienna, but was pushed back not by armies, but by horrific weather and mud. The Ottomans retreated, but they never forgot. Fast forward 150 years to 1683. Kara Mustafa Pasha has assembled a terrifying juggernaut of up to 300,000 men, the largest military force ever seen on European soil. But Mustafa harbors a treasonous, blinding ambition. He doesn't want to destroy Vienna for his sultan. He wants to capture it intact and rule it as his own personal Western empire. That is why he hesitated at the walls. That is why he delayed the final assault to prevent his men from looting it. But ambition is a dangerous drug. While the Holy Roman Emperor Leopold I fled his own city in the dead of night like a coward, someone else was watching. Would you leave your own borders completely undefended to save a foreign king?
One man answered that insane question with a yes. Enter John III Sobieski, King of Poland and the greatest cavalry commander alive. While Kara Mustafa dreamed of his new empire, Pope Innocent XI had achieved the impossible, uniting the fractured kingdoms of Europe. Sobieski took the gamble of a lifetime, stripping his own country of its defenses to march 70,000 coalition troops across Europe. He knew if Vienna fell, Poland was next. Through the brutal, dense terrain of the Vienna woods, his forces dragged cannons and horses through suffocating undergrowth, fighting against time and the rugged earth itself. Can a ghost army hack through a forest in time to save a city that is already burning? Smash cut back to September 12, 5 p.m., the present. Kara Mustafa is staring at the gap in the wall, ready to finally send his janissaries to finish the job. Suddenly, a scout arrives breathless. The Polish cavalry has just broken through the tree line on Kahlenberg Hill, right above the Ottoman flank. Kara Mustafa has 60 seconds to make a choice that will alter human history. Does he turn his massive army around to fight the Polish king in an epic pitched battle? Or does he stubbornly push into the breach to take the city first? Which choice will doom an empire? He chooses the city. It is the worst military decision of the 17th century. Kara Mustafa keeps his janissaries in the trenches, ordering them to take Vienna first. But at 5:30 p.m., the horizon darkens. Looking up from their siege lines, the Ottomans see something impossible. 18,000 heavy cavalrymen arrayed in a single, terrifying line, 3 kilometers wide. At the center sit the legendary Polish winged Hussars, armored from head to toe, wielding 12-foot lances. Strapped to their backs are enormous frames of eagle feathers. King Sobieski draws his sword, quoting Caesar, "Venimus, vidimus, Deus vicet." We came, we saw, God conquered. He drops his blade. The charge begins. What does it sound like when the largest cavalry charge in recorded human history descends upon you? The earth shatters. The wind catches the Hussars' feathers, creating a demonic, vibrating howl that reaches the Ottoman trenches before the horses do. The exhausted Ottoman troops, blind with dust and terror, have no time to brace. The Hussars hit the siege camp like a meteor tearing through paper. The impact is absolute devastation. The janissaries, trapped in trenches designed to attack walls, not repel horses, are instantly crushed. The lines break into mass panic. Kara Mustafa abandons his men, his treasury, and his dreams, fleeing east on horseback as fast as he can ride. A 60-day grueling siege is obliterated in exactly 30 minutes. Inside the city, Starhemberg stumbles out of the gates, surrounded by the smoking ruins of his home, and weeps as he embraces the Polish king. The aftermath is monumental. The Ottoman war machine is shattered, reversing a 250-year tide of westward expansion that would never threaten Europe again. Kara Mustafa's reward for his ambition is a sultan's silk cord around his neck in Belgrade. Vienna's survival paved the way for the Enlightenment, and the abandoned Ottoman coffee beans birthed the legendary cafes of Europe. On that bloody September morning, 150,000 men, a 12-metre gap, and the fate of the modern world all hung in balance until a king on a black horse raised his sword and commanded the thunder.